what the majority of women must understand about the majority of men today in our society. First and foremost, I want our women to understand the position our men are in today. I want you to take into account that the world we live in today doesn't need to shame our men into being feminine. It also needs to be equally celebrated men's masculinity, having standards, having boundaries, having encouragement from women rather than constantly putting them down and down and down. Me being a woman, I can also accept this. Women have a hard time taking accountability for their emotions, for what they've been through. And it's way easier to place blame on the opposite gender than it is to actually realize everyone in your life that you see outside of yourself is your doing. And I know women sometimes have a hard time realizing this. And I just began to realize this a year ago, that I'm responsible for attracting in the men I have attracted into my life. I'm equally responsible of having the masculine men in my life be known that their masculinity is celebrated by me. Men need women's encouragement more than ever. I don't think women realize how many men are suffering the desperate despair our men are in. And I'm not trying to put our men into being weak by saying that. But we must look at the truth for us to change anything that is no longer serving us, even us women. I know we as women think that having a man who's super in tune with his emotions and likes to, swim within our emotions as well, that's a good thing. That men nowadays are being actually more so celebrated for embodying feminine traits than to foster the masculinity that comes from anger, purpose, boundaries, standards, and not having a woman be his whole entire world. A woman can never be a man's entire world. A woman can never be a man's highest priority. Do you know why? Because that is an unsafe man who jumps ship on his own purpose to satisfy a woman's needs, for she cannot meet them by herself. And this is not to say that there should be a give and take in relationships. A man can still feel emotions, and a woman can sometimes take leadership when necessary. But there needs to be an equal balance. If something is off balance, there is going to be an out of alignment in certain areas, not only in your relationship, but in your life, within planet Earth as well. For it is a reflection of how we are treating ourselves. And how are you treating you? Now, I'm making this video truly from the intent for us women, what it would be like to be a man in today's society. And listen, I don't know what it's like to be a man at all. And I can empathize though for the position I see our men struggling with more women more than ever are making higher income brackets than our men. But women are still fighting that men have it better than they do. And they will fight to the very death of our men to prove that point. To actually annihilate the male race just for our very own inability to take responsibility for our lives without needing negative circumstances to fuel us forward. I won't have it. I want there to be an equal amount of gratitude for one another. An equal amount of not needing to look at 100 videos, women, of how to manipulate men into giving you their money, or how to how to really be within the masculine space. A lot of women could teach probably better courses of how to be a man than the men in today's society. And guess what? The women's would sell probably far greater than the men's. Why? Because that's how we've been set up to live in our society today. to applaud women for chasing the masculine ladder of hierarchy, basically, in today's society. Women have built themselves to be in a higher position than men in a lot of areas. A lot of areas. And I'm not scared to admit this. More people must admit why they are participating in the very tendencies that get them results of what? I'm sorry, women in today's society, this is the first generation where there are less children being born than ever before. A lot of women do not want children anymore. Do you know how scary that is for the next generation? Why don't they want children? Because it is coming in between them and their job, them and their priorities, them and their social media. Without even taking into consideration the next generation we must foster in order to make great change on planet Earth. And that's by allowing our men to be men, by allowing men to be encouraged by the feminine word and how much power that brings to them. Kindness, the ability to relax and to stop placing blame on the men in your life. Because how far will that get you? It will get you probably far away from the men that you're actually desiring. Men are fed up with women constantly wanting to fight a war that has been fought. And next in line, if we do not stop the progression, annihilating our men in the way of annihilating their masculinity and putting it up as wrong, we need to study one another. Study one another with the awareness that is required. Neutral observation that allows us to see greater into one another and how we truly are all wanting the same thing. We want to be seen. We want to be loved. We want to be understood. But how can we do that when we refuse to do that for one another? And we refuse to do it for ourselves. Trust me, women, men, whoever's listening, ask yourself, how long is it going to take in order for us to get it? I've got it. I understand. And I'm on the pursuit of understanding our men in today's society and what they are needing, as well as what am I needing as a feminine woman to survive in a masculine-driven society built by masculine men, built for masculinity. And what we have wrong is that men weren't the only ones building this masculine world. It was equally the feminist movement as well, here and now. The women who are fighting to be in their masculinity with the band-aid of it supporting women, because it is not. Feminine women in today's society understand the key principles of what makes men men, what makes women women, and how we must surrender into our very own ability to understand ourselves, what we need, and also not diminish what our men are also requiring out of us. I hope this video could speak some life into us today and just take into consideration that for true change to take place, takes place by us taking accountability for our own lives without needing another person to blame for us to soothe ourselves in the very despair of another person's. Let's wake up. Let's heal. And let's try to understand one another so we can make progress. And there can be more healthy relationships with dynamics that are actually self-serving to two people, but also a household. It's our time, and I hope this video served you today.